Okay, monkeyboy.1 wants to know how to improve arm speed during season ramp up. So I know you're going to be kind of upset at how I give you this answer, but I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Monkey Boy, but I know a lot of people, and I was like this when I was younger with kind of just misinformation, but a lot of people look at the arm or they look at arm speed as an individual entity of like the mechanics, like they usually like have arm speed. And who am I to say that that's wrong or right, whatever, but I would look at more so of arm speed isn't generated by the arm alone. Arm speed is essentially generated, like greater arm speed is generated by movement sequencing and leveraging, utilizing the body, right? So like utilizing rotational energy, capturing rotational energy is how I like to kind of word that. And you can see a video on that on my YouTube of capturing rotational energy. But basically, when I actually believe this, when people think about like arm speed as a separate piece, that actually kind of hinders their ability to initiate higher arm speed, because I think when a lot of guys when they think about arm speed, they actually go early and they kind of rush it. They kind of rush their trunk. They kind of lose their stretch, if you will, by thinking like arm speed. And something that I've kind of seen working with a lot of my clients that help is actually thinking about resisting like upper rotation, and thinking less arm speed. And that's actually shown, like it's the same concept, I would say, as like you got a guy on the mound, and he goes a 3-0 pitch, cookie middle at 90, and then it's a 0-2. I'm gonna ramp up and throw this as hard as I can up in the zone, and it's 90. Like that's a pretty good example of how like I mean it is the example of why I'm looking at my ebook table of contents right now. And chapter 4, movement optimization before intent. It's the same thing that I was kind of just talking about with, like, I think when people think like intent, although is a great mindset to have, it kind of forces them, like I said, early, and forces them to use probably a little bit more of this when we actually kind of want to do the opposite. But to kind of touch on the question about like during season, I don't ever really think that there's a time to look at like in season as a brake pedal approach. And I know that gets a lot of flack for it, but I think that you should always be in a state of growth, even if it's in season, off season, whatever. Now you have to be smart. You have to be intelligent with like how your body and how your arm is feeling. But I think being constantly on the gas pedal with your development, even if it is in season or if it's off season, if it's in the training room, it's in the weight room, whatever, always be intentional with improvement. I see a lot of guys that have a really good off season routine. They get into their season and it's like, oh, well, the season now it's a grind, all this blah, blah, blah. And then they just slam on the brake pedal. And you see it by the end of the year. They're wondering why their performance is subpar and their numbers are down and whatever. It's just something to look at. I'm not saying everyone is like that. Maybe some people do need more kind of brake pedal approach, and that works for them. Who knows? But I'm just telling you that's what I see a lot, Monkey Boy. So, good question.